Welcome, everybody. I'm Val Thompson, and I am today's host for iFocus podcast. We are voices for global commentary. iFocus podcast is your passport to the world. We're excited about our guest today. We are interviewing Marina Coryat. She is candidate for Houston City Council member at large position 2. How you doing today, Maria?
I'm doing
Marina,
great,
forgive me,
Marina.
Marina.
Yes, yes. Well, I'm doing great, Val. Uh, Glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me on International Focus.
Great. So, Marina, why don't you give us a little bit about your background? We know you're running for city council member, but we'd like to know something about what you've done before this.
Well, let me just kind of go backdrop, give you a backdrop of my life. Um, I am I was actually born in Trinidad. I was born to my parents, Reuben and Pearl Coryat, who had me. And we came to the United States when I was 1 year old. So we immigrated to the United States. And when I came here, my parents, we moved to the East Coast and they worked really hard. And my dad finally moved us to Houston and got here as soon as we can. We lived in the Fort Bend area. We also then moved to Houston proper. And so I'm so excited to be here because I'm really a testimony of the American dream. My parents sacrificed everything so we can go to school here, and then also to sacrifice really so I can go to Cornell University, an Ivy League school, where I was able to focus on government. That was my major. And then while I was at Cornell, and even before I went to Cornell, even in HISD schools, I studied Japanese and Spanish. And so just really building upon that, I added some time of studying Kiswahili while I was in at Cornell. I came back home to Houston and I'm here. I worked in some political campaigns, but then I started working for the mayor's Kathy Whitmire in the Citizens Assistance office, and I was able to handle a number of questions and concerns that the citizens had. It was very, very busy. We did not have 311. I had to track all the CDBG calls, which was a community development block grant, as well as all the calls that came into the city of Houston. It was a very exciting learning time and really got a chance to get an opportunity to meet with the citizens over the phone. And then I had opportunities to go and represent her at international type events. And it was a great opportunity. I also worked in the Housing and Community Development Department, where I was able to help find some information so that we would not have a finding from HUD. And so that was a citation from HUD. So that was we were able to get money continue to flow back into the department. And then from there, I went to the Solid Waste Management Department, where I worked in the City of Houston Solid Waste Management Department. Many would call me a trash talker because I really was the spokesperson for the Solid Waste Management Department. I went from the Assistant PIO to the Public Information Manager. And so during that time, I actually was the council liaison, and then I oversaw the council liaison and also oversaw all the websites, social media, all the communications, all the press activity for the department. I sat at the table with the department directors and deputy directors to make important decisions for the city of Houston regarding policies and planning. And just to give you just a backdrop of just a little bit in the city side, but then I went over to the private sector and I did PR, public relations for McDonald's franchise owners, which was a great opportunity for me. And then after that, I went to Blue Cross and Blue Shield, where I managed the media and community investments for Blue Cross and Blue Shield for the Southeast Texas region, not just Houston, Galveston, but also at that time I had the territory from Corpus Christi to Waco to Beaumont and everything in between, where we are able to reinvest back into the community with grant money and sponsorships. And it was really an exciting time. It was during the time of the Affordable Care Act and really getting people into having health care. And that's such an important role. And then after that, I failed to mention I have my own business, public relations. It's a public relations company, Refined Communications, and we also have had the opportunity in the last 4 years to serve with state. Representative Symphonia Thompson as her communications director, and just helping her with a sundry amount of duties in addition to that. So I'm just really excited to be here. And that gives you a little bit of backdrop of who I am, Val. And in addition to serving on United Way's boards such as Career and Recovery Resources and Houston Area Urban League. And also, because it's an international focus, I have to say that I had an opportunity to serve as an ambassador with the Greater Houston Partnership, where I was helpful in bringing companies to that were in the Houston area to become a part of the GHP, the Greater Houston Partnership, as well as retain companies as part of that, so we can help drive economic growth and collaborations within the city of Houston and the Greater Houston area.
Wow, that you just named a lot of things that are governmental as well as the corporate community, and some of those things will be very helpful for you as you move transition into city council. So let me ask you a question about city council. What is at large? I mean, a lot of our viewers and listeners might not know what at large is and why it's said that way. Because you got how many council members are there? First, let me ask that question, and then let us know what at large means and how many at large members are there.
There are 11, thank you for the question. There are 11 city council members that are district, and then there are 5 at large council members. And so we have a total of 16 city council members. So it's a hybrid system. So you have 11 that represent that geographic area, and then you have the at large, who's what I'm running for, is an at large position, is position 2. There are 5 of them. And so when I go around, so this is a really excellent question, Val. People are always wondering, well, what part of town is that? And I was like, it's not a part of town. It is the whole city of Houston. I'm running for just exactly the same territory as the mayor of Houston is, the candidates for mayor, but the only thing is that they have a lot more publicity on their race than we do on ours. But the at large is really in Houston, we designate which position we're going to run for: 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So when we file our paperwork, we file for that. In some cities, I have a friend. I helped her get elected to be the first African American in Syracuse to the city court judge. And what they do in their races, they take the candidates that have the most votes, and then that's how they designate their seats. But the city of Houston, we have to determine ahead of time what position we're going to run, and I'm running for position 2.
Fantastic. Okay, now why do you? I'm going to have to ask you this question. Why do you believe you would be right for that position? And I mean, why should the citizens of Houston vote for you?
Wow. Thank you. I I have already done the job. I have done the job, um, basically making policies and procedures when I worked at the city, especially in the solid waste management department, where we implemented new programs. I'm the leader that Houston needs for city council at large position too. I have the language skills. I have an Ivy League degree. I majored in government, so my focus has been in government from the time I was in college, even before college. I have participated in numerous political activities, and like I said, I study Spanish, Japanese, Kiswahili. And I think it lends to understanding people. And Houston is a diverse city. It's a global city, and having somebody who has the heart for languages and has a heart for people is one of the things that we need to make sure that we have a voice at the table. One of the things is not just when I was studying Japanese, I had to go to school. When I was in college, we would do five intensive classes, and we'd do three actual sessions where it was in English, but the five in, but I had to learn the culture. I had to understand a little of the dynamics of how the Asian population, a lot of the specifically Japanese, how they interact with one another. What are the customs? And so that's one of the things that I can pride myself is that I've already been doing a lot of those protocols over the years to groom myself for an international position, but also locally. I mean, I've been in the mayor's office, so I've worked everything from. I was reading an article that I had from years ago where just helping a citizen who had lost their wedding ring, and that we were able to find that wedding ring, not must go and digging, but making the contact with the landfill, and they found the wedding ring after not too long. They were that was like a needle in a haystack, but everything from dead animals to potholes to the sewage being backed up. I mean, we've answered so many of those calls, and I've been there at numerous town halls, and so I've actually been there to be the spokesperson. I've spoken on behalf of the department at town halls, in front of the media. I've coordinated press conferences when we had Tropical Storm Allison and Ike and other major storms. I've been there at the emergency center or TransStar to be with the mayor, to be with the department heads and operational leadership, and as an essential personnel to respond to crisis situations. So I've been in really tight and very stressful situations where people around are stressed because of all that's going on, because we're talking about life and death and recovery. And also, being there to be a person on the spot who can think through issues, who can respond to citizens, to respond to the pressures of being in government, and also try to be a visionary. When I came into the department, we didn't have our schedules online. We didn't have heavy trash, garbage. Now you can look online. But when I first came to when I was in the department and I made this suggestion because the technology was available at that time, I said, why don't we put our schedules online? And they're like, well, why would we want to do that? I said, so the citizens will know when to put out their heavy trash, when they're able to put out their recyclables. So I was able to be a visionary, to bring our department into um, to social media, to bring us into I even to having the information online, to being very proactive, having out of the box thinking throughout my career. And even for me, I actually had my own talk show, which was called Wasting No Time. And so for 10 years I had a talk show on the HTV channel, which would explain different aspects of garbage, recycling, electronics, the dangers of combustibility, responses to other things that we have, and also highlighting the employees. One of the things is, as a council member, we sit at the table, we make decisions for appropriations that are $50,000 or more, but we also can also affect change in terms of policies and procedures and ordinances. And so one of the things I also am mindful of is being um, a former City of Houston employee, knowing the challenges that many of the employees have, or the thinking about policies, even in making sure that we're including them in the thought process of how do we be equitable, how do we consider everyone at the table. And that's one of the reasons I believe I would be an excellent council member, because I'll be a voice for all. I will have the mind of representing representing the citizens of Houston, being objective. I'm not tied to any political person. I'm not tied to any mayoral candidate, and I'll be a voice for the people. I want to be objective, and I want to hear what they have to say. And I'm not set in my stone on certain positions. If there's some information that's data driven, or it makes sense to do something a better way, I'm open to those ideas and suggestions.
Great answer, Marina. So, Marina, one last question. Do you have any upcoming events like fundraisers or organizations you'd like to support? Anything of that such that our viewers and our listeners might want to know about?
Well, we just had a fundraiser, and I want to suggest that just just connect with me on my website at marinaforhouston.com. And so you could be on our newsletter. You can be informed of information that's coming down the pipeline. We're certainly going to have a fundraiser coming up. And but I just want to make sure that I have all the details in place. But I just really want to stay in contact with everyone because, your voice, your input is very important. And as I'm going along the campaign trail, I'm learning things, even as I've already know a lot about the city, but I'm also learning the heart of some of the other things that are of a concern to citizens. And so I just want to make sure that we are representing you. So marinaforhouston.com. I'm Marina Angelica Coryat, and I'm running for Houston City Council at large position 2. And also find me on Facebook and social media, and other social media. Marina A. Coryat on Instagram, and Marina, Friends from Marina Angelica Coryat on Facebook. I have multiple Facebook accounts, but definitely, and we utilize them to reach the audiences and to reach you because you're important. I want to just say that I'm the person that can hit the ground running from day one. I have the experience to do an excellent job for the citizens of Houston. I bring a wealth of background, and just to even as a business owner, understanding what it's like to get a contract with the city. I've applied for a contract with the city. I know some of the challenges that people have faced. We know the challenges of getting permits. We know the challenges of so let's work together. Let us work together to have a safe, efficient city, where we can where we can be proud of, continue to be proud of, rather, because Houston is a fine place. We have the best restaurants. We have an international community with over 100 languages spoken, and we are what Dr. Stephen Kleinberg talks a prophetic city, which the rest of the country will be looking at for years to come and to model themselves. So we need to put somebody in here who, such as myself, to represent the city on a local and a global basis.
Great interview, Marina. It's been an excellent interview, and to our listeners and viewers, you've been listening to and watching Marina Coryat, candidate for Houston City Council member at large position 2. Thank you, Marina. Thank you for joining us. And also to our listeners and viewers, please be sure to subscribe to this podcast. And you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and now YouTube as well. So to our viewers and listeners, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marina.
Thank you. Thank you, Val.
Our pleasure.